32-inch UF63 disassembly will be started. For 30-inch, the back cover consists of mold. 42-inch and 32-inch, the back cover consists of mold. I showed you 40-inch. There were 4 screws, but for 32-inch, there are 2 screws. And it has a latch type. And it is mostly used for the mobile phones. And it has been applied to TV product as well for this year. I think it is something very new. You might think the latch can be loosened, but we confirm that it is safe through the verification. The model is very similar to the model that I've explained before, so I'm going to give you a very brief explanation. Before I start the disassembly, I'm going to tell you this. In case of mold, it's very easy to create the curve. But in case of the press, since we are using this curvature, you see the inside like this. We can't do the curling steps, so that's why there can be some empty space here. So even if it is the same model, there can be some difference between the press and the mold. In case 40-inch, 32-inch, when you disassemble the stand, you only use 2 screws. Of course, the same 4 joints for assembly, and you can disassemble following the same manner. I think I made a mistake. In case of 32-inch, there are 4 screws for smaller models, including 32-inch. 4 screws for 32-inch again. Of course, at the top side, the screw has been applied to fix the main chassis. And it has been applied to the side. They have been applied to fix the side as well, so that's why there are 4 screws. If you open this side slightly and if you pull this off, then you can disassemble this part. And again, when you assemble this again, you join this part, and from the top to the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, like you've seen before, according to this order, you assemble this part. Then it's assembled. So from the bottom, you open it for this assembly. It's very unique structure. As you can see from the diagram, 9 including center at the top side, the left side, 6 in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a structure of 32-inch model. And I'm going to disassemble once again.
In 32 and 40-inch, the back bottom is small. So you may think it's different, but it's exactly the same. That's how you remove it, just the same as before. You couldn't see Wi-Fi before, but now you can see Wi-Fi right here. Let's disassemble each part. You first remove the speaker. You remove the full sun tape. Here you have the power board, main board, and T-con. It's exactly the same. They are all assembled in the final assembly line. You remove the cables here. And just here, it goes to the warehouse system module. Now let me remove the power board. You have the ground screw in the middle. All the screws inside, they are joined in the same manner. Just the ground screw is joined in a different manner. You remove the power board and you have insulation here below. you disassemble the main board like this. You can see a bigger chassis here compared to the 32-inch model. Of course, different countries have slightly different main boards. It's core processed, so the shape of the rib is slightly different, but it's all manufactured in one factory. Here you have the pad. In smaller inches, the one-full supporter works as the VESA supporter. In models larger than 43-inch, you have one back of supporter and 3 VESA supporters, but in smaller models, you have 2 VESA supporters. You put in each screw one at a time like that, and one full supporter and VESA supporter. You have 4 screws here. You remove the insulation like this. When you look here, in the final assembly factory line, this is how it comes in. And in the final assembly line, what happens is, now let me show you how you assemble it. So you put in the insulation first, and then let me show you how it is done in the final assembly line. It comes in as an assay. You put on the pad. You put it on like this, first of all. Then you begin to screw the parts on. In each line, the operation staff put in screws. Internally, the screws were silver screws. Silver screws are used in the final assembly line. There's the ground screw here. The ground screw uses 4-5 holes, but here there are bigger holes, more than 5-5. So even if you want to use the screws here, you can't. The ground screw is very important for the power board, so if you try to use a different screw here, it's not going to work. The hole is too big. When you assemble this part, you have to make sure it's designed so that you don't make a mistake in that aspect. So you put in the screws in each hole. You tighten the screws, all the screws, and that's how you join the speaker. It's exactly the same as before. There's the hook for joining these parts. And then you plug in the cables. This is the UMI tape in the circuit. This is the Posan tape. Then, lastly, you assemble the back cover. That's where you attach this part. And then you plug in the cables here. So, and you first put the top part of the top cover on, and then you push it at the bottom. You press the sides and the top and the bottom, and then you have completed the assembly. After, you screw the rest of the holes. You join the four holes using screws. Then you also screw in the sides, the main area. There's a different screw that's used here. Then lastly, you assemble the stand. This is how the customer gets it. The customer gets it without the 4 screws tightened. The hook, when you look at it here, you have to get the right direction in order to attach it properly. Then you tighten the remaining 2 screws. And then you have assembled the set. So I have shown you how to assemble and disassemble the 32-inch UF63.